Welcome to OnSolos. Today I'm joined by Lauren Ryan. Lauren is the founder and chief marketing nerd of Coastal Consulting. Considered a unicorn in her field, Lauren is a technical expert in Salesforce and HubSpot and a strategic marketer. Lauren, welcome.
Hey Joe, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. This is our first time meeting today.
Brand
That
new.
is that is actually not that is actually within the norm here on the podcast. I've met a few new people just like this. Boom,
hmm
into a Zoom, into a podcast. They've been a great way to know people. I've had some really cool conversations.
Yeah. No, I
So,
definitely think this is a great way to network now.
yeah, it's fun too. I get to pretend I'm a real podcaster even though I'm not. So that part's a little weird, but I've been enjoying it. Have you done any podcasting before or just been interviewed?
I've probably done a little bit over 20 podcasts in the past. So
Wow, that's a lot.
veteran. Yeah.
What was the favorite one you were on that you did? I mean, not like or like one of the favorites. Let's just say one that comes to mind. You don't want to say, oh, the other ones weren't my favorite.
Yeah, I did How I Built It once with Joe, and that was really good.
That's
I've
awesome.
had some really good conversations with other entrepreneurs about how they built their company, how I built mine, and what we were really looking for. So I've really enjoyed those.
So people might be asking, oh, well, if this is the first time meeting in a podcast format, like how did you get on? Like how did you find it? Let me walk me through how you came across the podcast and got on today.
Yeah, there was someone on LinkedIn saying that you were looking for agency owners to come talk to you who had smaller agencies. And I'm always down to give back to the universe and share what I've learned. So it looked like a good opportunity for me to chat with you.
Awesome. So I went to your website. I said, well, this is a great website. And I'm like, this, she's not a solo, but you
Uh,
kind of are, right? Like
Kind of.
how many full-time employees do you have full time?
So full time, none right now. All of my employees have dropped down to part time. So I started Coastal Consulting about 2.5 years ago. So being 2.5 years into a new business, the first business I've started, I'm pretty proud of that. Of just there's a lot that it takes to get to 2.5 years of maintaining revenue, having employees, all of that. I hired my first full-time employee 1 month into Coastal Consulting. I grew really quickly, and what I did is I sacrificed my personal life for my job. I decided to go 100% in on Coastal Consulting. I was working 90-hour weeks, like a new
Wow.
lawyer right out of college, and I killed it. We did $1 million in our first year. We absolutely exploded as an agency because we have a
Million
very,
dollars in your first year.
yeah,
Holy cow. I think people are going to
yeah.
hear that and be like, what?
Yeah, we did it. We did an awesome job, but I very much sacrificed myself for that. So
Right.
I ended up breaking off an engagement. I was engaged to be married. That fell apart. I ended up selling my house. So I went through this really intense first year. I hired a team and I was really, really intentional about hiring because I started Coastal Consulting to create a better place to work, where people were encouraged to be themselves. And there was a lot of learning and development. And I focused a lot on our culture. And I, again, gave this amazing culture to my team in exchange for me and what
Yep.
I was able to give to the world. And so after about a year of that, when I was going through my personal breakup, the economy started to change a little bit towards agencies where it was like this last summer. So a year ago, summer 2022, everything kind of stalled. There was a big freeze on spending for a lot of companies. And we work with companies who use HubSpot and Salesforce. So they're larger companies with
Yep.
in the B2B space. And there was just kind of an end of year budget freeze. And by the time we got to end of December, I had laid off almost my entire team. And so it was really, really challenging and felt like a very strong personal failure of just getting to the point where I was like, hey guys, like we just can't pay you anymore. Like we have run out of clients, which was really challenging for me, having gone from nothing to really high success in our first year to almost to the end of our second year and having the complete inverse of that happen. And I think it was just the perfect storm of my personal life kind of erupting combined with this huge economic downturn when it came to the agency space. So now this year we have focused on stability. Everyone talks about having their word of the year, and Coastal's word of the year
Yeah.
is stability. And so we take on a very specific project. We have maintained and kind of dug ourselves out of our hole, and we're doing well. We have two part-time employees and myself. And what we have found is a balance between all of us kind of live our lives and do coastal with that. So I just went on my honeymoon for a week. I ended up getting married
Nice.
to a really great man. And we just got back from our honeymoon, and we're going to a conference in Boston next week. The team's going to Inbound in Boston.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's just, we've now found a balance where I can live my life, the team can live their lives, and we can actually make a strong, stable income. And we're probably doing 400 to 500K a year instead of a million, with just the three of us. So
Yeah, you're working to live rather than living to work, right? That's the thing.
exactly.
That's what we all realize after a while. In a way, it's kind of, many people might hear this who have an agency with more people, or who had an agency with more people and did that for a long time ago. Wow, she got lucky. At least she made $1 million the first year,
Mhm.
and realized that the view at the top wasn't quite what we all think it is in the
Yep.
agency world. The agency world's a tough world. It's a grind. There's a lot of competition, especially in partner networks. Now, you have a specialized group, which makes it
Mhm.
a little different. You help people, like you said, with Salesforce and HubSpot.
Yep.
Who do you help, and how do you help them?
Yep. So our agency helps people with the HubSpot Salesforce integration. So if they're migrating to HubSpot from Pardot or Marketo, we'll help them implement HubSpot and install the HubSpot Salesforce integration. The main thing that we do is help people fix the HubSpot Salesforce integration when it's a mess. So usually someone starts at a new job, they've inherited an account that's a mess, and they need someone to dig them out of sync errors, duplicates, all of that. So we come in and help fix that integration. So we're highly specialized on that. We typically help SaaS companies or just B2B, like education space, government, SaaS. We're pretty industry agnostic, but we focus on that integration, and that's it.
That's it. That's all you do. That's smart.
Yep.
That's the way to do it. Yeah. So there's usually a choice for people to be focused in one area or not. Some people just choose the vertical. Some choose like the specialty of work.
Yep.
And it sounds like that's working well for you. And
Yep.
I don't think there's a shortage of integrations that are messy. Typically, there's always something to fix in the two-way communication. As easy as the connectors are in HubSpot,
Mm-hmm.
it still doesn't sync up right. And there's always custom use cases and just
Mm.
little nuances. And I think often people will get in and go, oh, yeah, I'm just going to click a button. This is all going to work magically. And, as smooth as it is, it's not. There's
Yeah.
always stuff to optimize.
There's always something, and the thing that a lot of people don't realize is Salesforce is very much kind of like an empty house that you move into, and you have to furnish it in order to get it to work well. And so HubSpot is designed to plug and play into the way that Salesforce is natively set up. But because so many teams come in and customize Salesforce to whatever they need, it no longer plays as well with the native integration. So you have to do some work to
Ah,
make sure that you're customizing your integration to fit the way that you furnished your house. So
yeah. So if I'm understanding correctly, in simpler terms for people who are the database geniuses you and
yeah.
your team are, it's like Salesforce. They come in, it seems easy, or maybe it's still not that easy, but it's not out of the box like HubSpot, like native. All your
Yeah.
components are there. And then HubSpot is, and that's
Mm.
what's great. Their teams can use HubSpot as a
Yeah.
front end, because Salesforce is really, for me at least, I'll speak on my own behalf. I don't like using the Salesforce front end. I love using HubSpot. It's really easy. A lot of clients, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Um, but Salesforce does have that robust integration, and for larger companies,
Yeah, but if you've customized it really far past the out of the box Salesforce, then you have to account for that in the integration. The native integration will still work, but it you need to account for the way that you've customized Salesforce to then fit the integration. And so that's where people often get into a mess. Which is where we come in to help you do it right the first time.
so do the other people in your competitive space, are they larger companies, other solos, other consultants? What's it look like? Who are the people that also try to solve the same problems, or are you the only one solving this problem right now, or are there others?
So we are the only agency that just do this. So
Nice.
our main competitors are other RevOps firms. So RevOps firms that are focused on RevOps as a whole, and they support HubSpot and Salesforce. So we created a course on the HubSpot Salesforce integration. We took all the
Oh, wow.
knowledge that we setting it up and created this free course. And we have had a lot of other agencies enroll in the course, take it, and start offering this as a service of just being able to install the integration. The challenge there is there's a lot of knowledge we've built over the years outside of just the course that we put together. That's kind of like one-on-one of how to set it up. And then we work with larger clients to be able to actually customize it. But there's a lot of people who have taken our course, both client side and agency side, of just learning how to do this. And as more people switch from Salesforce to HubSpot in the market in general, demand for people who understand this integration and how to migrate from Salesforce to HubSpot has really gone up. So we've had a lot of opportunities to support other agencies in learning how to do this too, which I've been happy to do. But our competitors are typically bigger agencies or smaller firms that are just focused on RevOps, that are from the Salesforce space and coming over to the HubSpot side that understand both. Because really our value proposition is understanding how to be an administrator in both tools and how they work together, because the majority of the market knows HubSpot or Salesforce really well, and we know both.
Good. Yeah, that's the key, is that specialization. And it does help a lot of agencies and a lot of other solos. There might be some solos who have a big client and they're doing a very specific set of consulting with HubSpot. And the client then says, oh, but I need this Salesforce piece done. And the solo who might be helping them in their specialized area might lose their work to a larger firm because they don't have a partner like you. So I'm sure that you're well received by those people in those situations. Are you working with other solos in terms of agencies? You said you're working with a mix.
We haven't had any solos reach out to us yet. So we essentially have a meetings link on our website where you can book half an hour paid time with me. And during that time, we can talk about whatever you're dealing with, like log into your accounts and like screen share with me, and I can point out things to worry about or like answer questions. So that's been really popular since I started doing that a few months ago, of just opening up my calendar for 30-minute paid blocks. And agencies, big and small, like we work with some larger ones. Like there's one that we work that's in like one of the big 5 like consulting firms. We work with them for some overflow things too. So all over the board, just being able to give that consulting second opinion to a lot of agencies.
And what were you doing before this? You seem to be an expert in HubSpot and Salesforce. Was it something related, or was it, what was it?
So I worked for a financial institution implementing Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So I was hired to move them from Marketo to HubSpot as a full-time employee. And once I started working there, they realized they wanted Marketing Cloud instead of HubSpot. So I had never worked with Marketing Cloud before, but I taught myself Marketing Cloud from the ground up and ran it as a solo employee for a year. And so I taught myself SQL and all of these different things. And from there, I had a cultural misalignment with a management change. And so I just decided to start Coastal full time. Before that, I helped.
I like that word, cultural misalignment. I should use that more often with situations that are like that. I like, that's a nice way to put it, but I get it. Yeah.
And I just decided I wanted to work for myself. So I had worked at a few companies before then, either setting up HubSpot and Salesforce or helping people in environments where there were CRM issues. So all of my roles have had something to do with the CRM space or marketing. And so I started Coastal focusing on kind of, I can help with marketing automation. And then within a few months, I was like, I can help with the HubSpot Salesforce integration. And so really niche down. And it has made it so easy to create content because like I have a very clear focus. Like, how does everything that's trending right now pertain to the HubSpot Salesforce integration? So RevOps, Sales Ops, all of these things we write from the HubSpot Salesforce lens. And our website has like over 5,000 visitors a month, I would say. I haven't looked at it recently, but a while ago
That's
it was
excellent. That's really excellent for a specialized service, especially saying we only do this thing with HubSpot and Salesforce. That's incredible.
Yeah. And one of the biggest visitors to our site is Salesforce when it comes to domain tracking. So a lot of the HubSpot reps look at our site for help on this because neither of their support teams are really able to support the integration. Because why would they? Like, they're not trained in the other platform. So there's actually a lot of people from both teams that are in our course, just trying to learn it to be a better account manager. So that's been really cool too when the actual software companies come to us to learn.
So now that you've like downscaled, you're actually part of many larger organizations. You're helping out these larger corporations with their integrations, and you're also kind of a part of the HubSpot Salesforce teams in a way, because they're
Yeah.
relying on you as another member of their team to get up to speed to make things work for their clients.
Hmm. Yeah.
So how's your life changed, like in personally, from going 90 hours a week and a larger company, larger team, and downscaling into
Yeah.
this? Are there challenges now that are different, or and benefits? What's the mix? What's it look like?
Yeah. I would say that there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of really hard cons. So the people that I had to let go were incredibly important to me. I worked really hard
Mm,
to find them, recruit them, and hire
yeah.
them, and really enjoyed being their manager. And so I look back on different videos and conversations that I had with them.
Mm,
I really miss them, just genuinely as a person. I'm excited to see some of them next week.
mm,
Um, it was really, really hard on me emotionally until I saw that they were in new positions. So like the time between when I laid them off and when I saw that they had started a new job, I wasn't super great just waiting for them to
yeah.
find me because it was hard.
Yeah.
And on the other side, it's very relieving to not have the responsibility of the large payroll.
Mm,
Because payroll used to be a really, really big stressor, especially when things started to go down, because I always had 3 to 5 months of money. Whenever I hired someone new, I'd say I have 3 to 5 months of, if we don't earn anything new right now because of this person, we'll be okay with them. And so
mm,
I'm very big on no debt and making sure that we're financially stable. And so whenever things started to go down, it was like, oh, it was kind of like an identity challenge or identity crisis of,
yeah.
I'm not someone who's in a situation like this. So there's a lot of recovery and work I had to do to get through that. But on the business side, like the emotional weight of having a business is so much lighter when you have a smaller team and you have a smaller payroll like reliance, because it
Yeah.
is a huge amount that you owe people, and if you can't make it, like that's a devastating feeling. So there's that. But also I feel a lot more freedom in what we do. Like we're able to try new things. We don't have as much accountability to stick to the status quo. Like we can be more flexible and try these paid consulting hours and all of that, because whenever you're smaller, you can move quicker. You're more lean, like there's less dependencies that you have to do to change things. So it's been nice getting back to that. And as a person, like I have been able to enjoy my life so much more and just be able
Wow.
to travel more and like spend more time
Nice.
with family. And it's been really nice to kind of find the balance between I can be a business owner and still be me and still have a life outside of work. And so really it's just been a case study on finding balance between being an entrepreneur and a small agency and having a life and getting married and building all of that. Like it's just been a really interesting 2.5 years as I figure out like who I am and what I want my life to look like, and using kind of Coastal as my vehicle to figure that out.
Wow, that's beautifully put, and that's wise advice. And for anyone that hears this and might feel all those stressors, this could change a life. Just hearing what it's like on the other side, and
Yeah.
what it's like, because a lot of people do identify with the meeting the payroll, having things in the personal life sacrificed for, like, your team is your family. So here
Mhm.
you are putting everything into this family, but it's like, having two masters. Like, while you have one family, this is work. You love the people there, but when you're actually putting more into them and then into yourself and into your home life, you expect your employees to put their in your team to put their home life first,
Mhm.
and it should be expected the same of you. So a lot of business owners should hear that and understand it's okay to think of yourself first,
Yeah.
and the business, comes after that. Vince Lombardi used to say, what I think it was, God, family, and the Green Bay Packers, in that order, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is our teams are the Green Bay Packers. So we got to make sure everything else there is there too. And same things happened to me too, as I built up things, everything personal fell apart. And as I brought things back, all of it comes back together magically. And you go, oh, is this who I am? I
Yeah.
forgot who I was. And
Mhm.
it's a nice feeling. So I think your story there is gonna help a lot of people just by hearing that. It's encouraging, because when people are doing this on their own, I don't know about you, but when I was doing this on my own, building things up and all, I didn't really, I mean, occasionally I hear this from other people, but no one actually gets into the the real deal. Everyone's just kind of like, oh, we're doing great, we're doing great, because they think it's bad for business. It's like, no, maybe not. Or
Yeah.
I can't hold it together. You don't want to tell your team you can't hold it together.
Yeah.
You don't want the captain of the ship showing any kind of, you know, unease. So you
Yeah.
kind of hold it back and have no one to talk to.
Yep.
That's how where I was. Were you there too while you were kind of putting it all together? Did you have anyone? Was there an intervention point? Like what happened when you just knew it was too much?
No one who was laid off on my team was surprised. I was very transparent of, hey guys, like things are tough. And so I did, whenever I worked for other people, the thing that I struggled with the most was not understanding the full picture of the business. Like it was kind of like, you're a marketing analyst, focus on that. But I wanted to know, how are we performing compared to our competitors? Like, what does it actually look like? What are our metrics? So I always had a weekly meeting with a team of, here's our finances, like here was our income last month, here was our outgo. Here's where we're at, here's our profitability, here's like our revenue per employee, here's what that looks like. And then also here's our marketing metrics, like here's how many deals we've opened, how many meetings we've booked, like all of this. So we kind of have a metrics dashboard. And so the team knew we weren't doing well. Um, and I shared that in effort to get everyone to help. So, hey guys, we're not doing well. Like, what are your ideas? And so we all kind of brainstormed as a team, like new content to create, new things to try on the website, like new ways to go about sales. So we worked as a team for months to try to avoid that end. And so it wasn't just me in a vacuum, like bearing the stress of, I hope I figure it out. It was like, hey guys, like we're in trouble and we as a team are going to try to figure it out. And then we got to the point where I was like, listen, we've got 2 more weeks and then we're going to figure out like if we're able to keep people or not. And a lot of people don't do it that way because it hurts productivity to make people concerned about their jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you say, hey guys, like we might have to do layoffs, like people will spend time applying for jobs on the side. It like takes up mental space. And so it hurts productivity. But for me, knowing that it was going to hurt productivity, like I chose transparency because I didn't want anyone to be caught off guard with, I can't pay you anymore, like your job's gone. So I chose to take the hit of knowing that they would be spending time on the clock applying for jobs and like trying to make themselves stable while helping me come up with ideas and kind of revamp. And it affected different people differently. Like all of them really liked working here because of the way that I managed and because of the stuff that we did. And so they all put their best foot forward and tried to help me fix it. And by the time it came, it was, hey guys, like it's the end of the road. Like today's the day we've been trying not to reach, but we're here. And this is it. So laying them off, while it was incredibly emotionally challenging, like the night before, it was just like, all right, I set my points, like there's nothing we can do. And going into the conversations, it wasn't a surprise, it was just a disappointment of, I really hoped we wouldn't get here, and I understand that we have. So
But there's a brighter side
yeah.
now, the present. Life's
Yeah.
changed. You're doing wonderful. The business is thriving. And the people who work there are landed, it sounds like. You're gonna
Yeah.
see them at inbound. So that's good news, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially in these times, because that did happen. The economy constrained, things changed. There was differences in inflation, all sorts of things changed. And you weren't alone in navigating that. And it's hard to navigate in that environment because when people go, there might not be the things to land to either.
Yep.
Not as easily as it might have been a couple of years ago. But it sounds like you're a real leader and you navigated that with grace and dignity and care for your team. I'm going to ask you a question. What part of work energizes you the most, and what part of work energizes you the least?
Yeah, that's changed over the years. So before I started Coastal, what energized me the most was building really sophisticated solutions. And for the first little bit working here, like building solutions really energized me. And now, so it's more like seeing the reaction of people when their job gets easier. So, like, what we do at Coastal makes people's jobs easier. So, it's more so that human connection of, okay, now that we've built the solutions, like, this is how people are receiving it and what they're doing with it. Like, I used to just kind of build a solution, ship it, and move on, but now I like to see the impact. And so that's been really energizing for me. And what drains me the most is reporting. I do it. I do it every week, and it's something I make myself do every Thursday afternoon, but it's draining to me.
And that's someone who would do that prior you had an analyst that would do that in the past, or was that
Nope,
something you
it's
just
always
always
been,
do?
it's
It's
always,
always been you. Okay.
yeah. And as a business owner, I would say like you have to keep an eye on your finances every week. Like one of the reasons that we got into trouble when we did is because I wasn't keeping as close of an eye on it. Like I did have my admin like kind of doing our reconciliation. Like it sucks to be the one doing it, but you have to do it. Like you just have to keep a
Yes.
on where your money's
There's
going.
so many questions
Yeah.
anyway that you really do have to do it. It's not the most fun thing to do for sure,
Yeah.
especially if you're a creative solutions oriented person. It's kind of like it's accounting work. And typically when we're in this line of business, we're not accountants. And it's stressful typically too, because you're
Yeah.
managing a balance that, if managed well, shouldn't have a lot of excess money in it. So it's always kind of a lot of
Exactly.
emotion involved in it. So it's one of those things. I think a lot of us just go, oh, I don't want to get to this. Let's put this
Yeah.
last. Let's put this
No,
last.
for
Let's
sure.
solve for our customers, and we'll fix this problem of our own at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So in terms of human connection right now with a smaller team, with a larger team, were you guys all in person before? What was the dynamic of the team before? Well, it couldn't have been, right? Because it was during COVID, and it was probably a lot of business over Zoom. But are
Yeah.
you interacting as much with people now as you were when you had a larger team?
We have always been fully remote. So our team meetings have always been over Google Meets. So we meet virtually every day. Um, and I have a lot less meetings than I used to. Like I have parsed my calendar down. I used to just have my calendar open 8 to 5 every day. And that's part of the reason I was working 90-hour weeks because I had no
Yeah,
time during the day. So I'm really tight with my schedule now of just Tuesday through Thursday. I think it's like 11 to 3 p.m. is when you can meet with,
smart.
and that has just changed my life of being able to take all Monday, all Friday. Like I live across from New York City now, so I go into the city Monday and Friday and just find a coffee shop and work and just kind of get in.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. And then on the weekday of Tuesday through Thursday, I'm at home on meetings, all of that. But as far as in person, I've never really had in-person interactions. I always tried to get the team together quarterly whenever we had a bigger team. So for the course that we created, we rented a beach house for a week and everyone stayed in the
What?
beach house.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, we had like a filming crew come in and film the course in a beach house that we all stayed in. So that was super fun. We've done all of our interviews in person. So since we're remote, we pick a place. So we've gone to Seattle to do interviews before. We've gone to Oregon,
What?
Chicago. Um, so yeah, since we have the freedom, we've just chosen a remote place and gone and done interviews.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I found ways to make this really fun for me. So
Lauren, what advice, we're going to wrap it up, but I want to ask you, what is what is the best advice you give to someone who's downscaling and going solo?
have a vision for where you want to go. If you decide to downscale, it can start to feel like you're just losing everything left and right. But if you set an intention for, okay, this is what I'm trying to create, and basically losing to gain, you need to have a vision in place and have like a 6 month milestone of, okay, in 6 months from now, I plan to be here. And in doing that, I am comfortable downscaling because I know where I'm going and I know what I'm getting to.
That's awesome advice. Lauren, thanks so much. Oh, before we go, where can people find you?
Yeah, coastalconsulting.co. You can find us for HubSpot and Salesforce. And then I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So come find me there.
All right, awesome. Lauren, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.